So how are you gonna do against my boy Chillin' Any word just in case he's watching the stream?
I mean, there's nothing to say. My results speak for themselves. His doesn't. I don't give a shit about the color. I want people to remember me for being good, not being in the Smash documentary. Honestly, I don't think he has a chance.
Guys,
wow.
What a ride. What a ride. Whew. Zip Boys win.
I searched the earth for you, wade into the furthest oceans. I made my way.
Or say a unicorn that is great and powerful.
And is perfectly cast, by the way, as you could probably tell by the cover in the center.
Yeah, then we look forward to grabbing that because that one's a lot of fun, and they didn't tell me to tone down anything, so it's just off the wall.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't tell you to crank it up a little bit.
Oh, it was pretty cranked up from the start.
All right, and so on to the next thing, which is the actual history of, well, this isn't the first time that we've actually had the crossover between The Wizard of Oz and My Little Pony. Funny, as the show has actually shown, we've had various characters actually show up in the background, and or Applejack dressing up as the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, the funny thing is I had no idea that cover with Trixie as the wizard existed until well after I wrote the book. I think I was talking to you about the book, and you were like, oh yeah, there's this cover that somebody did, I think for Fried Pie with Trixie as the wizard. I was like, great minds. You know, so I feel like immediately that was the first one that I was like, I know Scarecrow is Pinky, and Trixie is the Wizard of Oz, like no question. The rest of it we can play with, but that one was like, I knew that initially, and of course somebody else picked up on the same thing. So,
Well, she is Trixie, the great and powerful.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, Tony, you've been
Yes.
doing a lot of work here in comics outside of My Little Pony recently with Stray Dogs, Local Man, and Time Shop, which is the name of some of your recent projects. But could you tell us what it's been like here to actually been working on comics here that more or less deconstruct the comics period of the 1990s?
Yeah, well, I mean, I worked on My Little Pony comics from 2012 until, I mean, I guess currently, like I still work on them whenever they come around, but I was pretty heavy duty for like a good 8-10 years there. And it was sort of like my first big job in comics, like my first big ongoing job, and I was like very happy just sort of like making a living making comics. And then one day I was like, oh right, I'm supposed to also be making my own stuff. Like I need to have my own My Little Pony, because this stuff doesn't pay after it comes out. Like it just pays the one time. And like when I first started making comics, I was making my own stuff, and I wanted to continue to sort of put my own stuff out there and write stuff. And I worked with good writers on My Little Pony, pretty good writers, fine writers. But like part of me wasn't getting out there, was the part of me that wanted to like write and create my own stuff. So I sort of started like dipping my toe into making my own stuff. I did this book called Time Shopper. That was just a small 48-page like graphic novel. And then the second book that I started working on while I was still making My Little Pony comics was Stray Dogs, which I made with this artist Trish Forstner, who's also a My Little Pony artist. And that book came out through Image in 2021 and really super took off. And it's a story about a bunch of dogs that live in a house together and don't know that their master is actually a serial killer. And he murders people and takes their dogs as trophies. So it's very grim, very different from My Little Pony, but it is, Q's right, it is sort of a deconstruction of like 1990s animated stuff, because it is like if Silence of the Lambs and All Dogs Go to Heaven had a baby together. And then Local Man is my current book, and it's sort of my love letter to 1990s, like crappy 1990s superhero comics, and sort of me doing like a thoughtful take on what it would be like to have been one of those people, and now sort of be like past all that and trying to figure out what your life's supposed to be after that. So yeah, that's my books. Those are my creator-owned comics.
Yes, and probably as you can tell just by looking at the top half of the billboard there's definitely a,
You talking about Rob Liefeld?
yes, because it's like, I know him, it's Rob Liefeld. It's like,
Yeah.
why did the name here just get stuck on the tongue?
Yeah, that's basically the thing. Like these sort of like Image comics from the early 1990s, Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and Eric Larson, all names that if you're under the age of 40, you probably don't care that much about. But to me, I love that picture of me just comes up with a little My Little Pony logo on it too. That's the same picture I use when I go to conventions now, and it's from the year 2008, I think. I think it's like pre-Obama. But I thought it looked good, so I keep using it. It looks sort of like the same as Hitch, It's almost like they modeled him off of me, but they did not.
Yes, it's almost as if I ended up scouring the episode that he was in for a frame here that kind of matched yours that still had your name on it.
Yeah, we're both mischievous. We're both paternal. But yeah, so when I was working, like I've been friends with Jillian Barrow from conventions for years, and she's one of my writer friends who, whenever I'm coming up with something, I usually will like call her up or go over and hang out with her and sort of pitch the story to her, because she's really good at like suggesting things or poking holes or saying like, why don't you do this, or how can like do more with this. She's sort of really good at sort of like taking stories and sweetening them. Do you have friends that you do that with?
I don't have friends.
You don't.
I don't have friends.
But she had done that with me on Stray Dogs, and then we had also worked together on pitching a couple of like pony-related things. And while she worked her way up through working on Friendship is Magic TV show and novels and stuff, and eventually became the showrunner on this new show. And when she got there, she said, I get to hire one person, and I want to bring you on. And so it was very sweet, very cool of her to do, because I had never, like when I started writing my episode of My Little Pony, I had to buy Final Draft on that day, because I wasn't even like, oh, I should write for TV. I was just happy to make comics. So she really took a shot, and so I wrote 5 episodes altogether. Or so far I've written 5. And the first one is out now. It's in the second batch that just came out in February. It's called The Jinxie Games, and it's about like a field day that they have in Bridalwood. So.
Yeah, by far. Has everyone here actually seen that episode?
Hey, all right.
What do y'all think of it?
You guys are my kind of crowd. That's right. I was like, I can't wait to get to Everfree Northwest. People are they're gonna love that episode and just say winner to me all the time. And you guys are the first ones. Nobody.
All right.
I was like, this is my big unveiling now that I'm an official writer of My Little Pony TV shows.
Well, then I think we can all say this to Tony right now, because he's a winner.
Hey. Really means a lot. Thanks, gang.
And Jeremy's also been doing a little bit of writing outside of the My Little Pony work.
A little bit.
Jeremy, could you tell us a little bit about the work that you've been doing on Gwenpool, the Dog Knight, and the recently announced The Cold Ever After?
Yeah, I saw Tony doing books about dogs, going from ponies to dogs, and I was like, that sounds like a great transition. Let me write a book about dogs too. Actually, that was completely coincidental. A thing I figured out later. I was like,